Welcome to this week's episode of the Ride of Your Life podcast. And boy, do we have a fun and exciting episode for you all. And we're just so thankful for last week's episode with Miss Lexi Bishop and the Faith, Trust, and Jesus podcast. I hope you all enjoyed that and just got a blessing out of that. We'll definitely have her back in the future just to brag on the Lord some more and just to dive into His Word. But this week, we have a fun episode for you. And we have, all the way from Branson, Missouri, we have Silver Dollar City joining us here in the virtual studio this week. Sawyer Nichols, who is the influencer communicator there and influencer director. We have him today. We're going to be talking about the park, its history. We're going to talk a little bit about Hershend. And most importantly, we're going to be talking about fire in the hole. So you don't want to miss that. We're also going to talk about a few other things to go along with the park, including this year's calendar and all that good stuff. So we're going to be doing that today. But next week, and I'll mention this later at the close of the episode, but next week we have a guy who worked at Silver Dollar City and many years ago. His name is George, and he is also gone by Sir Willow. He's a YouTuber. He calls himself Tales of a Theme Park Worker. And he's got some awesome stories and a very powerful testimony you don't want to miss. But this week, we have the park itself here in the virtual studio. So I'm not going to go ahead and belabor this episode. We're going to dive right in today. So let's go ahead and get buckled up because you don't want to miss a second here on this week's episode of the Ride of Your Life podcast. Let's roll. Welcome to this week's main segment of the Ride of Your Life podcast. Y'all, I am so excited for today's interview here. We have a really special guest with us, and his name is Sawyer Nichols, and he's from a little park you may or may not know called Silver Dollar City. And today we're just going to talk about the park, a little bit of its history, and the Hershend history a little bit as well. But first and foremost, thank you so much, Sawyer, for joining us today, and it's truly an honor to have you on here.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out and setting this up, Donnie. We're really excited to talk a little bit about the park and your all's mission.
Awesome. Well, first to get us started today, could you tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do with Silver Dollar City?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Sawyer. I'm a publicist here at Silver Dollar City. Our offices are actually here on the park, so I literally get to work at a theme park every single day here in the Ozark Mountains. Awesome. In Branson, Missouri. And I get the pleasure of basically, as a publicist, helping people learn a little bit more about our park, whether that's through traditional channels like radio and TV here locally, some of our destination markets, or I also help out on the social media side of things as well with influencers and kind of, more niche audiences such as this one. And so we just love kind of spreading our message across all kinds of channels and feeds. We're an 1800s theme park here in Branson, Missouri. We theme very closely to that. There's a difference, I'm sure you understand, between amusement and theme park. And we definitely like to take that theming to the next level all the way throughout our park. And that's just kind of my job, is to ensure that we're following those theming in our communications, to any outside people who might not know who we are. Being here in Branson, Missouri, sometimes it's a little easy to think that everybody knows, what Silver Dollar City is, but just making sure that everyone knows the representation of our core values, what we stand for, and what makes us stand out as a theme park.
Awesome. Well, Sawyer, could you tell us a little bit about the history of Silver Dollar City and its parent company, Hershend?
Of course. So you can't really say the word Silver Dollar City without thinking about the words Marble Cave as well. So Marble Cave is where we first started. So that'd be back in 1869. There was the first ever recorded expedition of the cave, which is here on property, and I'm actually sitting above it right now. And it was called Marble Cave.
Oh, wow.
Essentially, they believed they had found what was marble on the cave ceiling, and after some digging around, he
Wow.
shined his candle or his lantern up there, and he's like, "That's got to be marble." And so they came back. He purchased the plot of land that the cave was on in would have been later in the years, I think 1889. A man by the name of William Lynch purchased the cave, and so basically the mining company came in and they looked for the marble, found out that it was actually limestone, which is very popular for the area, has almost no value to anyone here in Missouri. But what he did find, it was plenty of bat guano. And if you don't know what guano is, just give it a quick Google search. And it was used for a lot of things, most notably for gunpowder back in those days, in the Civil War era. So they extrapolated all of the bat guano they could possibly pull out of the cave. But that is a resource that once it's depleted, it's pretty much gone. You can't really find any more of it. So at that point, people didn't really consider Marble Cave something that you could, useful for mining purposes. So here we intro into, kind of our era. 1889, William Lynch buys the cave. He opens it to the public. That is for cave tours. You used to have to put on a big, thick pair of leather kind of jumpsuit to slide down this. First of all, you'd climb down this long single ladder all the way down into the cave. There's the mouth opening.
Wow.
And you'd slide down this big old pile of debris that had kind of, things that had fallen in. Our cave has a natural opening. It's a sinkhole. So it's not your typical cave you think of just walking into. You did have to climb down into it. So from there, they would give cave tours. They actually had dancing, sing-alongs. The acoustics are really good in the what we call the cathedral room. So it is one of the largest in the United States. You could actually fit the Statue of Liberty in there, and a lot of people don't know that. But
Wow.
that's really where we started from, was giving these cave tours. And then, of course, there's an appetite as people are waiting in line for these cave tours. Of course, they need something to do. And, it gets quite warm here in the Ozarks. You'll see highs in the hundreds. So folks back then actually got to experience some of the first air conditioning in the Ozark Mountains here at the park. And so that gave them a little bit more comfort. They started selling ice cream, other little trinkets, and they started saying, hey, how about we introduce some of the people, who are traveling from different areas to the new things that we have here. Some of the old things too that we have, porch picking, people sitting out playing their banjos, guitars just out on a porch, as well as some street performances and blacksmithing, pottery, some handmade things. And so that really opened up into a small storefront. And that's officially when we were kind of titled Silver Dollar City. And so in May 1960,
Wow.
we opened our gates, and we've been operating ever since. And I mean, have since really seen a great period of, kind of just welcoming in, millions of guests every single year. And that comes, along with roller coasters and all sorts of new advancements. We have one of our biggest ever purchases coming next year, our new Fire and the Hole roller coaster. But all of that, started at a very humble place here in the Ozarks, and the people here in the Ozarks are truly what we have to thank for that. And the, ultimately you can put rides, you can put experiences, attractions, and shows. But if the guest walks in and doesn't exactly feel at home like we like them to feel here in the Ozarks, then that really doesn't mean all that much. So we're definitely thankful for what we have going for us here. And that's just a little bit about our cave and our theme park.
Well, that's awesome. And it's really neat to see some of that back history, some of the history that probably a normal person just going through the gates would never know. And are you still able to access the cave and cavern there?
You are. So yeah, Marble
today?
Cave, everything once you get in the gate is part of your, your ticketed experience. So people are like, oh, do you have to pay extras there? So there are tour spots, but basically once you enter the gates to the cave or the gates to the theme park, you'll walk up and there's a desk there where you can sign up, and they have written on an old chalkboard. We try to keep everything in theme as much as possible. So on a chalkboard there, they
That's
have
cool.
all the tour times that they've decided throughout the day. Essentially, you'll show up about 10, 15 minutes before your tour time. So you can sign up for a time or, put it in your phone or your reminder and say, oh, we'll come back at 4:00, maybe when it's a little bit warmer or something like that through the summer. It's another great thing. It's 60 degrees about year round. And so it's a nice form of heat during the winter and, nice little air conditioning throughout the summer. But, come back during that time. It's about an hour-long experience, and it's all included in that ticket. So hop on there. You get to learn pretty much everything that I just told you, but in much more depth and detail, down to the minute details of who settled that area. You get to walk through the cave that, millions of people have walked through this cave since it was found back in the 1980s. And you get to learn a little bit more about the Ozarks culture that brought, so many people here to the Branson area in general.
That's really cool that you're still able to do that and tag on that original theme of the 1800s there. So, um, one of the things we talked about before we started this recording today is just how special Silver Dollar City is and its sister parks and attractions, and just the core values that separates it from a different park, such as like your Disney Universal. And that is when you come to these attractions, you feel like family, and it just has that wholesome family vibe to it that you really can't get anywhere else. So, could you talk about uh, the company and its values concerning um, just that family atmosphere when guests walk through the gates?
Of course, Donnie, I think when it comes down to the family aspect, that's part of the reason why I work here. So I've worked here a little over a year, and it's been like drinking from a fire hose. Not only on the the technical side of things in my job, but when it comes to the culture. I grew up here in the Ozarks, and one of the things that was always most attractive to my family when we came and got to vacation here year after year and come to the theme park, for my brother and I as little kids, it would be the rides, and we were always big ride-centric people. But I know for my parents, especially as we started to get in our teen years, they could just release us into the park. They felt very safe doing so. And I think part of what goes into that is, our mission is to, across all of our properties, so we have 26 properties so we're
Wow.
America's largest family-owned entertainment company, and so that's four theme parks. That you probably know of. Kentucky Kingdom is one of those. You mentioned Dollywood, as well
Yeah.
as Wild Adventures, and so those four are our theme parks. But we also have aquariums. We have Jeep tours. We have all sorts of. We have gardens as well as like dinner shows and things like that. So all of these things and what we say that we want all 26 of these properties to do is help families create memories worth repeating. And when I was brought on board here, and they said, "Hey, like, why Silver Dollar City? Like, why do you want to work here?" And I was like, "Well, not only do I get to work at a theme park every single day, like, what's more important to me is that when I was driving in for the interview out of the theme park, I started seeing the billboards, and my brain like recognized, like, oh, I'm on the windy road to get to Silver Dollar City. I started thinking, like, man, my heart's getting excited. I'm going to eat funnel cakes. I'm going to go on roller coasters. I'm going to watch some awesome street performance."
Yeah.
So like all those memories were pent up, and I still get to experience those every time I go on the park. Being, man, I remember being lost here and finding my brother, and we're trying to find our way to a certain ride in time before closing time. Just those little memories, and all of that's made possible.
Yeah.
Truly by our employees and our leadership who really think out the details of thinking, okay, how is this going to impact the family unit? Other theme parks might prioritize volume or prioritize some other type of experience. But for us, it's really thinking when we put in a new attraction, when we change the way our park operates, we always want the family unit to really be the one that benefits the most out of any other group. So, all of that has a part to do with, like I said, making those family memories worth repeating. And that's something that guides our business every single day that we're open here.
Well, that's great, and it's nice to know that you could go to a theme park and just enjoy it, and just have those memories, as you said. The making memories is one of those things that it's priceless at the end of the day, and just it's cool that you can pinpoint some of those things from your childhood of coming to the parks and all that. So, um, Silver Dollar City is also known for some uh, really amazing awards that it's won, from golden tickets to even some recent awards from USA Today. Can you share with us some of those really amazing awards and uh, honors that the park has received?
Yeah, of course. So that's one of the pleasures of the time that I've been able to come on the team. We have a lot of records, for awards. As I'm in the publicist, industry, so I've got plenty of history in the park and all of our archives and things like that. So it's not
Mhm.
new for our park to win awards or take top in certain, competitions. But this year specifically, we're very excited to be able to kind of brandish some of these in the beginning of the year. So in May, USA Today voted us the number one theme park in America, along with our water park here in Branson. And so, as a collaborative, number one theme park from USA Today. And then later on in the year, we got an email from TripAdvisor, and that's one that, based off of, I think it was 400 reviews, essentially, of people that they had pulled from different places. That's kind of the methodology that they used. And we were also voted number one theme park in America, again, by
Wow.
TripAdvisor, the world's largest, probably most
Mhm.
trusted travel guidance platform. So that was a really big win for us. We're really excited about that. And our reviews, I was just looking at our TripAdvisor just a minute ago, looking at our guest satisfaction and stuff like that. And it is really, it feels good to work for a company that has a really great rating on a very honest and transparent website. And so then on top of that, we were just announced for, so this would be the sixth time that we've won USA Today's competition. They essentially go around, they have a voting period for about a month where people vote for what they think to be the best Christmas event at a theme park or best holiday event at a theme park. And we always are, close neck and neck in the running. And this year we were able to pull off our sixth title as a number one
Wow.
holiday theme park event, which is huge for us. Out here, we have an Old Time Christmas is our Christmas event. It's been going on for decades. And we have 6.5 million lights that have been just added to every single board, every single building. We're a 100-acre theme park, and you won't find a building that isn't wrapped in Christmas lights around here of some color or another, along with Broadway-style shows, an 80-foot-tall Christmas tree. It's like, it's not just a tree with lights. It actually has light mapping technology, so we can project images up there using the lights,
Wow.
and just things that are, really not like anything you're going to find anywhere else. Someone recently said, if Santa ever needs inspiration for any reason, he might want to hop on a sleigh and stop by Branson, Missouri, and go to Silver Dollar City. And I thought I really liked the way that he put that. But all those things, again, like those are from our guests, and then that's, ultimately their opinion of us is reflected through, the work ethic and the values that we have here in the Ozarks.
That's amazing. And all the stories I've heard, and I'm going to be honest here, Sawyer, I have sadly never been to the park, but I've heard so many testimonials. I know.
We got to change that.
But I've heard so many testimonies. Yes, I need to get out there. It's on my bucket list. My wife and I want to go there.
Hey,
so
just
bad.
let us know. Just let us know. We'd love to welcome you
experience
here,
it.
some good old Ozark hospitality, and get you out here.
Awesome. We do appreciate that. But like I said, I've heard so many testimonials about this park, and it's just so neat to hear that. And it's been, like you said, USA Today, TripAdvisor, and golden tickets, and all that. And what would you say is, what can you attribute to those awards? Why are people voting Silver Dollar City as the best of the best Christmas event and regular park? We talked about it a little bit with it being attributed to being a family park, but what would you say is the key to, I guess, the success over these 60 plus years of the park?
Yeah, I think, what it takes to really impress someone who's coming here, and we talk about this pretty often in a lot of our, our internal meetings is, for people to, save up their earned time off to take that, then to spend money, on gas and food and maybe lodging, and to get the kids out of school and coordinate everything. It takes a lot of work, and we truly believe here that those people, when they enter our gate, they almost deserve that experience. Like, they have entrusted us with their day, with their weekend, with their family reunion, with their business outing, whatever that might be. And so they we truly owe it to them to give them a top tier experience. And I think all of that comes down to ultimately the work ethic that people have here at the city, making sure that we're watching our P's and Q's and watching the quality of events. And then, on top of that, I think the culture of the Ozarks is one that we did not create. A lot of people come to Silver Dollar City and think, man, like this really, this is a unique thing where people are kind, they're smiling, they do the right thing. I was missing something and they came up and said, hey, here, like, have a pair of gloves. You don't have one and it's cold out. Like we'll get that for you. There's just little hallmarks that
Wow.
make us a little bit different. And ultimately that does come from the Ozarks and just the people who are here in general. We're in the middle of the Bible Belt of Missouri, and faith has a big importance of what we do. At the park, and we were kind of talking about this before. I wouldn't necessarily say a Christian theme
Yeah.
park. A lot of people, are you a Christian theme park? Then we kind of talked about how you have the if someone hears that, you might think like Bible themed rides or having something, and we have nativities, we have hallmarks throughout some of our performances, and Bible verses around the park. Our social media includes scripture every week. But on top of that, it really comes down to the beliefs, our founders, the Hershon family, and the Hershon brothers, they, were Christian, grew up Christian. And, they saw that, here in the Ozarks that people definitely hold close to their faith. And, some people even ask, they're like, well, do you have to be a Christian? Do you ask that in the interview if you want to work at Silver Dollar City? And by no means, you don't need to be a Christian or have any type of belief structure or ideology to be an employee here at the city. But what, we do notice is that we have a lot of people who care very deeply for not only their fellow employees every day. That's what makes this such a fun place to work. And also, you see people here. We just added our 13th dogwood tree, and in our grove, and that's special to us because those 13 dogwoods we have here on Park represent 13 employees that have worked here for 50 years or more, and that's just the
Wow.
testament of that. What makes somebody for tens of thousands of days of their lives, show up day after day after day and unlock the door and go in and flick on the lights in their shop and set up their things for the different seasons. I mean, all of that takes hours, and it's literally somebody's life. And so I think all part of that experience comes down to, how well our employees treat each other, how we like to take care of them. We have lots of different opportunities within our organization. Hershon Family Enterprises, so all 26 of those properties, has a really cool program called Share It Forward, and that's essentially, it's an employee-funded campaign. It runs across, like I said, all of our properties, and it assists employees. We hear a story that someone can submit them if they know of a financial need that they have, or the person, the individual can sign up themselves. But basically, we take those things, and maybe it's someone who can't pay their medical bills, or maybe it's someone who they were walking through and they saw their tires are looking a little bald, and they know that they're having some financial hardships. They can basically submit their coworkers or themselves for this, and we have a board of also employees, a couple in our office even, and we get together and they'll look at case by case basis and basically be able to take those employee funds that are taken that are given from our employees. We get to sign up, and it's given as a piece of paper, so you get your application and all of your paperwork, but you also get a paper and it says Share It Forward, and they do a good job explaining, hey, this is for people who might not have the same life circumstances as you, the same blessings as you, and need some extra help in life. So that's just one really great example that we have corporate wide, that really helps to propel, I think of Acts 20:35, it is more blessed to give than to receive. And that really, so we might not have a scripture behind that program necessarily when it goes through corporate, but the heart of that scripture absolutely reflects the program that it is. And you see that across so many of our parks, Dollywood here, and keeping those hallmarks. So once again, not a Christian theme park, but absolutely seeing, themes that are from the Bible, that are from Jesus, and being able to apply those directly to the way that we treat our employees, the way that our employees are, expected to treat our guests with respect and with love and kindness, really leading with love. And even, in any organization, there's always going to be times where you have to fix problems, times where you need to offer some guidance in places. And that, once again, leading with love, always done with that first, thinking this is a person who has devoted their life, their time, or this is a guest who has, come into this park and devoted their resources to it, to expect a good vacation. And we're going to do the best thing for them. We're going to treat them correctly, treat them fairly, and make sure that we, offer a solution if it's a problem or something like that. But again, all through that kind of Christian lens, we like to say Christian values and ethics, and being able to kind of hallmark that as our park.
That is amazing. And I want to just commend the company as itself and the parks for doing that and just showing the love of Christ. Just in the simplest ways, as you said, it's more blessed to give than to receive. And that's really amazing. And usually we do this at the end of the episode, but I'm going to go ahead and have you plug how can people apply to be at Silver Dollar City. If they want to be a part of the team, how can they apply to be a part of the team?
Of course. So we direct all that kind of to our website. That's just simply silverdollarcity.com. If you live in the Ozarks region or come in here pretty soon, a lot of people, which is, I find this really unique. We hear this all the time, is that when I retire, I want to go do XYZ at Silver Dollar City. Like I want to go, dip candles at Silver Dollar City. I want to go make pottery. So, and it's this really cool atmosphere that we have here that really does attract people from all around. One of our longest, serving employees, he just got his dogwood tree planted this year. And he's our city marshal, and his name is Chuck, and he does just a great job every morning welcoming guests and families. He helps to facilitate our morning salute to veterans every morning. Throughout the summer, we raise the flag. During the winter, we leave it up. But we'll have basically an opportunity for any veterans to come up and be recognized and get a pin that, they'll be recognized throughout the day and thanked for their service. Wow. But he visited the park 50 years ago with his wife, and they said, we know what we want to do. Like we want to move down here. We want to work at Silver Dollar City when we retire. And he was in the military, in the Marine Corps, and ended up, once again, he's in his 51st year of service here and has woken up every morning. We have a really cool story on our Facebook about that piece of content that we made. But I mean, that just is one story out of, I'm sure, thousands that folks have of moving here or of being in the area and deciding to work with Hirsch and Family Entertainment in general. So if you have a park near you, maybe I don't live here in the Branson Ozark area, but I'm in Tennessee or closer to Dollywood. Again, go to their website, find out, some of the employment. Our HR team is always happy to talk with you. We have rotating positions through all parts of the park, so some people really love the interaction in food services. Some really have a dream of being a ride operator, something like that. But we have plenty of entertainment as well for shows, for street troops, for carolers throughout this season specifically. Just lots of fun, unique positions that really get you out here. Our park is also beautiful, and I just love, walking it every single day and being able to take a walk through the Ozark Mountains. We have a beautiful park out here. Covered with trees and, just the nature. There's a lot of area things to do as well. So all food for thought. But yeah, if you're interested, definitely go to our website, silverdollarcity.com, and look up that link.
Oh, great. And if you are interested in joining the Silver Dollar City team, go ahead and check them out and apply online. And a great company to work for, as we're seeing here, and a great team to be a part of. So with that, you mentioned some of the roles that people have in the parks and talking about some of the events in the park. Mm-hmm. Can you give us an overview of what 2024 is going to look like calendar-wise for Silver Dollar City, some of the events and things happening there?
Yeah, of course. So 2024 is a really exciting year for us. We always have, big things that happen each year that we really put a lot of effort, into, whether that's from our marketing side. But for 2024, most notably, I'd be amiss if I didn't say, is really focused on Fire in the Hole. For those of you who haven't heard in the coaster community yet, Fire in the Hole is, one of the longest operating indoor dark ride in America right now. It's 51 years, seen 25 million riders. And we are actually just in a couple of days on December 30th, that'll be the last day of operation for our park and for that ride. And after that, the ride will be closed down, and we will start working. So we have our new one built. It's a $30 million attraction. That's the largest attraction we've ever built,
Wow.
most expensive as well, biggest investment across any of our properties. So we're very blessed to have that here in the area. And obviously that's where a lot of our attention and excitement is going towards next year. That is slated to open early in the spring in 2024. So we'll be doing lots of special announcements and ride events for that. And if folks are excited to ride that, that'll be open. It's completely HVAC and temp controlled, so it should be open from the beginning of the season all the way until our last day of operation for the year. So definitely something we're super excited about. 30 million ride, and it really follows, again, I think, to take it back to family. Like, we have two areas in our park that have 10 rides, so that's 20 total that are devoted entirely to the children. So we have our Grand Exposition area.
Wow.
Kind of looks like maybe like an old World Fair or something like that, but it's got the teacups, it's got the little kiddie roller coaster that you only have to be a couple of feet tall to ride. I mean, just things that's a lot of people's first roller coaster here in the Ozarks, because some of the bigger ones have a higher height requirement. So like for Fire in the Hole example, for example, as we replace that ride with a newer, improved, $30 million better one, it doesn't only have, better sound effects and audio, onboard audio there with you. It keeps the same scene, but also helps to, keep that ride, the rider height requirement down. So that's going to be smack dab in one of those other areas that we have. It'll be called the Fire District. And that, again, has right now 10 rides, and with Fire in the Hole, we'll make it 11 rides completely dedicated to those, smaller guests who are just learning their thrill levels and getting to spend time with family. But again, totally two points of our park that are completely, dedicated to helping families create those memories worth repeating. So that is probably what we're most, excited for, anticipating in our team, and we're focused on. But we always have our rotating, calendar. That you can go and you can find that at silverdollarcity.com/calendar. We have 8 different events next year going on, and that's everything from a couple of different festivals, spring festival, summer festival. We have our harvest and Christmas, obviously, are two of our most popular, but we open starting on March 9th next year all the way until December 30th. And throughout that year, like I said, a couple different events that really, it's a different experience every time you come to the park. That's anything from our street fest. We have street entertainers and performers walking the streets. We have fair, that you would see, maybe street fair, a little bit more fried or something like that, handheld items that are food venues. I have a couple different music, opportunities, bluegrass, Southern gospel, country music days. So we have, separate events for all of those. We also have a really fun event called Young Christians Weekend. That happens April 6th and 7th. That's a really fun one for a lot of our local people here, youth groups, and that younger generation. We have some big headliners coming next year. Mosaic is one of the most notable, who'll be out here. Vertical Worship, they'll be doing some concerts out here over those 2 days. It's a really big weekend for us, and especially important for us. Again, those Christian roots. I went to that as a high schooler. Got to hop in the church van with all my friends and drive down and stay at a hotel and ride roller coasters. But then within there, we also have speakers, not to mention those worship bands, the pastors who come, and we're going to try doing some some different roundtable discussions too, that students can choose to go to, or leaders can go to kind of, again, further their faith. And I can't think of a better place to do that than somewhere that also has a couple roller coasters.
Absolutely. Well, that's really cool that you have all these different events, and especially the two notable ones you said, the Harvest Fest at Silver Dollar City, and then the main event,
Of course,
the Christmas at that's so neat. And you mentioned it a little bit there at the beginning. You have a new-ish attraction coming next year with Fire in the Hole. Can you tell us a little about that attraction specifically, for those, again, who may not know what it is, and what can guests expect from this new version of this classic attraction?
Of course, Donnie. So I'm actually looking at the brand guidebook right now, and I'm telling you, this thing is like almost a small like attractions Bible in itself. Like this thing. So
Wow.
this will follow. Again, it's an indoor family coaster. It's the largest family coaster in the Midwest. Opens next year at the beginning of our season. And again, this isn't to break any records for inversions or drops or speed. This really is to, again, reinvest in that family experience that Silver Dollar City is. So we're keeping that height requirement around 39 inches for accompanied guests, and we're going to have basically the same layout, the same 12 scenes that we had in the old original one. That was one thing. If you live here in the area and the Ozarks, our tradition is very, very important to us, and especially as a theme park. We always gauge, what's best for our guests as they enter our park. And what we really got was, instead of taking this right away and replacing it with something bigger or flashier that might appeal, to someone outside of the Ozarks region, let's reinvest, into our tradition here at the park and recreate this ride. Again, with a custom built, state of the art HVAC building with those 3 layers. So basically, you'll have track length is around 1,500 feet, and you'll be moving about 8 feet per second on the powered areas and 26 miles per hour on the gravity drop. So, that's, again, not a crazy thrill ride, but it's more about the story when it comes down to this ride, and have a couple of trains on there that'll take you through this ride. If you're not familiar with Fire in the Hole, it is a retelling of of a true event that happened here. So it's a little bit of Ozarks folklore mixed with a true event. So the city of Marmaros was a mining town that sat above here. In fact, was used to, if you remember at the beginning of the episode, we were talking about taking some of the, guano out of the cave, and that was about $17,000 a ton back in the day. So a pretty penny. So it was profitable for a couple of years. About 3 years went by, and they took it all out. So just like, mining towns normally, once the source of income dries up, everybody moves away. The cave was sold. And then in that time, so there's a group of vigilantes by the name of the Bald Knobbers. And if you ever drive through the Ozarks, there will be these beautiful hills, we call them the Ozark Mountains, have lots of trees, but then there'll just be a few random ones that are spotless for whatever reason. And so those are called bald knobs. So therefore, these group of vigilantes, the Bald Knobbers, come in, and they didn't like the idea of an outsider. That, being William Lynch, he was a vacuum salesman, door-to-door vacuum salesman from Chicago. And they didn't like the idea of an outsider buying this land here in the Ozarks. So when they first found out about it, they came and they set alight to Marmaros, the mining town here. And so this is the story of us telling, hey, we're coming in and you are coming alongside of our citizens to help put out the flame, the blaze that those Bald Knobbers set. And along the way, you get plenty of fun little things, little reimagined. If you've ever ridden the ride, you've got the kind of the goofy Bald Knobbers all the way throughout. They're causing havoc, but end up getting captured at the end. And the same elements, you have 3 drop downs, and with a splashdown landing at the very end, pulling you back into the station. And again, it's something that everybody has memories of. I was walking through our old Fire in the Hole the other day, and I saw this almost a whole entire train wearing the same shirt. And it was one of these family, get-togethers. And I said, are you all in the same family? And I saw the little kid who was barely tall enough to ride all the way up to grandpa. And they're like, yeah, we have 4 generations on this train. So to have something, a ride like that, that's special, is what we didn't want to remove by any means from Silver Dollar City here. So we get to, again, invest $30 million into that new ride. It's excited. It's open, like I said, early next spring. We're super excited for it. We can't wait to open the gates and have people riding it all year. The old one has seen 25 million riders. So we really just can't wait to see how many millions of people can ride this new one.
Well, that's really cool. And like I said, hopefully we get out there and experience Fire in the Hole for ourselves.
Yes.
So with this new attraction, you worked with a very well-known company in the coaster community. Can you tell us about who's constructing this ride?
Of course. And
what was it like working with?
Yeah, of course. So by no means, Donnie, I've been in this industry for only about a year, like I said, and I had no idea who RMC or Rocky Mountain Construction was until I joined here and I heard that they're making our roller coaster. But based out of Hayden, Idaho, they've worked with us on another ride or two here in the park, and they've been great. They've been able to help us outfit this building. Like you said, it's a custom built building. And it's not many times you have someone come up to you and say, hey, how can we fit, a technical moving, like, operating ride with all of these little mechanics and pieces and sensors into what seems, like, it looks like a huge building. It's 5 stories tall, but then when you think about putting a moving coaster in there with set pieces and everything, that turns into a completely different, beast. But they were more than willing to come alongside us and help us custom, lay the track in here and put everything. So the track is laid. They are testing the carts right now. We were able to just reveal alongside with them at IAPA about a month ago our new cart. So if you haven't seen that, go hop over on our Facebook or Instagram, and you can check out what the new carts look like. But they do always a really good job, outstanding job when it comes to theming on the carts, really capturing, working with our design team here. We have our own design team internally at Silver Dollar City at our corporate who helps to really make sure that the theming, the story is right on par, and is told correctly. And so, of course, they worked hand in hand with us to design those carts custom, the 5 carts for this ride in particular that'll hit there. And yeah, they've done a great job of just working alongside with our construction team to make sure everything is fit and we're right on schedule. So we're super excited to get people in there, and super thankful for our Rocky Mountain construction partners and what they mean to us and how they've helped us to, again, just take another feat of something that is like, how do you fit 1,500, feet of track in a 5-story building and make it, worth riding. But sure enough, we've done it, and we can't wait to open it to the public.
Awesome. And along with that, you'll have, like you mentioned, some other elements like the animatronic set pieces, lighting, and sound, which, if you do look at the IAPA pictures of the train, you may notice there's some onboard audio, which that sounds really cool, no pun intended, but it's so neat to see so much life brought into this new or this classic attraction to, again, preserve it for decades to come and to have that generational appeal to it, so that the kids of today could take their great grandkids on it someday.
Yes.
That's really cool. So, what are some of the other offerings that Silver Dollar City has to offer? We obviously have the coasters, the flat rides, the food, and all that good stuff. But what else is there to do with the Silver Dollar City brand?
Of course. So yeah, we've mentioned the cave. That's something, open to everybody, but that only takes about an hour. So if you come out for a whole entire day, you get a lot of time. We have 7 different coasters, if you include our miniature coaster for our kids there. But so for the enthusiast out there, plenty of thrills to go around. We have RMC also, back in 2013 built Outrun, the first wooden roller coaster to have not 1 but 3 inversions, and to be able to travel down. That first drop gets me every time. I'm like, I get in, the coaster cart, and I go down the initial drop, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely was not ready for that. But I mean, we have that. We have Time Traveler as well, open in 2017, 2018. Again, I said I'm new, but 2017, 2018, with, one of it's on this half of the world, it's the tallest, and fastest spinning coaster in the northern or western hemisphere. So definitely a lot to do for, coasters if that's your thing. But, a lot of people come here. Some people, we get this question a lot, like, can we just come and shop? And it's like, well, it's all encompassing. You're paying, for the cave, for the rides, everything. But some people really do that, especially a lot of our season pass holders. They'll come out here just to shop for Christmas, for harvest. All of our festivals are different. So that's really something that's kind of a benefit for here is, like I said, we'll have the spring themed entertainment. Summer, we're really focused on offering people a place to cool down, and step inside our shops and have some shopping, street activities. We had a rainmaker this year. He was out there. He had this big goofy wagon with all these water hoses hanging off of it, and he was trying to prove to the bank, he was trying to foreclose his experiment that he can make it rain, and sure enough it did. So seeing all the happy kids dance around in the rain down there. Mystic River Falls, also the tallest water ride drop in the Western Hemisphere. So a lot for the family to do as they walk around the streets. We really like to say, we're kind of an anti-theme park in a way that, when you get in the gates, often there's this feeling of anxiety of like, okay, and we still have people rope dropping, it's still fun to get up, be the first one on a ride. But, for those who just want to take it easy, it's so much fun, just in the best way possible, to get lost at Silver Dollar City, to pick up a paper map that we print. We have what we call the Pathfinder. It's a real newspaper that we have here, and it has our iconic, cartoon map on there where you can find anything that you need, as well as our show schedule, some more information about the city, some headlines, notes from our Silver Dollar City president, Brendan Thomas. So that Pathfinder, kind of gives an outlet to say, hey, if you want to, you could turn off your cell phone for the entire day here and still be able to navigate the park, and find what you need. There's plenty of shows as well. We are definitely entertainment centric here at Silver Dollar City. Those are changing. I mean, there are thousands, literally thousands of shows that happen here.
Wow.
A good chunk of them during Christmas and Harvest especially, but we have our saloon show. It's actually also its 50th season here. That's a really fun, iconic show. It takes place in a saloon here on Silver Dollar City. We are a dry park, but we do have our saloon that serves root beer and popcorn, and it's a 30-minute show. It offers a really great chance for folks to take a load off their feet, and it's really top tier performances. Here during Christmas, we have our Dickens Christmas Carol, and that is truly a Broadway style show, with theatricality, with choir systems, with pyrotechnics, and it's normally, it's definitely a tradition for a lot of families. So that's really the caliber of entertainment that we have here. Nick Walinda came over the summer. He walked over the Niagara Falls on a tightrope. I mean, it's just like, how do you find someone like that and source him to do, a show at a theme park in Midwest Missouri? But we did, and we brought him out here, and so many people were inspired by his show. So that's a little bit about the entertainment. And then, I think it'd be amiss if I didn't talk about crafts too. We are the American home of American craftsmanship. We're actually dedicated that name by the U.S. Congress. And that really comes back to people back in the day, while they were waiting for, those cave tours. We said, well, what can we get, here for people to see? And it was what we already had: plenty of blacksmiths and pottery makers. We have glass blowing here, as well as soap making, knife making, leather working. So all of these traditional handmade crafts that you really see disappearing across America in large droves, in exchange for something that can be printed out 1,000 of the same thing and shipped straight to your door. That is what we pride ourselves in, being the opposite of that, of saying there is one of these ornaments out there that was just blown, or just maybe one single mug, that there's a whole wall of mugs, and all of these were made by hand. They have little stickers on them. Everything on park that's made here, from candy to, like I said, bigger pottery pieces, blacksmithing, nameplates, all sorts of things here, that when you buy it, you truly have the only of its kind, and get to take that home with you. So, like I said, shopping is popular here. And plenty to do for the non-thrill seeker. So I know we are a roller coaster, centric podcast. So there's plenty of that here. But also, I mean, you could enter the park if you really wanted to, and spend the whole entire day without ever even stepping a foot on, a roller coaster, and still get a majority of the Silver Dollar City experience. And like I said, that's what makes it such a great place to come for families. I think of places where I went as a child, and it's like, man, the rides and the speed and the velocity was great. But, maybe my mom didn't enjoy that as much because she never roller coasters, and so I know that's why Silver Dollar City was so special for her, is because my dad would always say, okay, you're going to stop riding Wildfire, and at 12 we're all going to get together and we're going to sit and we're going to watch the saloon show, or we're going to go to Dickens Christmas Carol, or whatever that was. And so I think that's what makes us unique. We have the opportunity to have those high level thrills. My brother and I, we marathoned Wildfire one time, one of our roller coasters, at B&M. It was like 23 times in 2 days. I mean, so we had our fill in of thrills, but then on the other side, I still get emotional sometimes when I watch that 80-foot tree I talked about. When I watch that go off, I truly feel my family standing there, and I'm like, boom, there's that, family memory worth repeating, that I get to experience and hold tight with me. And we hope to make plenty more of those for families who walk through our park in 2024.
Awesome. And not only are you a coaster, shopping, entertainment park, but you have something that I don't think any other theme park has, and that's a showboat. Can you tell us a little bit about the showboat?
Of course. So
what that is?
We go by the name Silver Dollar City Company. That's because we're not just a theme park. We also have three other properties here in Branson. So that's Whitewater Theme Park, which complements us. They're a couple miles away on the 76 Strip. We also have a campground that's pretty close to Silver Dollar City. And then, as you mentioned, we do have the Showboat Branson Belle. And that, again, it's an 1800s themed steamboat that was built custom. It was actually built on the edge of Lake Taneycomo. It's a large man-made lake that they created by building the Table Rock Dam. And that's really what helped Branson kind of get its foot into the door when it came to tourism. This body of water, offers lots of fishing, water sports activities. It's busy throughout the year. And that was, a decision made back in the 1900s. And so to have this boat, we saw this as an opportunity to extend kind of our brand and give a chance for a little bit shorter of an experience. It's about a 2.5 hour from start to finish cruise, but it's a lake lunch or dinner cruise. And so you'll go out there on the White River Landing, and that's where the boat's docked. It's a massive, it's a 1,250 ton boat. It's actually the largest boat on a landlocked lake in America, and has 5 decks if you include the galley. And on there, basically, it's a massive auditorium, can sit up to 700 folks to watch our shows that go on. There's typically 2 or 3, and it's a great experience. We really would, Branson, if you're not familiar with Branson, Missouri, it's truly become an entertainment mecca, and I would definitely put our performers in our shows. We have teams that work very hard who have a lot of experience from Silver Dollar City as well in the entertainment that's there. They develop the show that goes on at the Showboat all year long. Right now we're in a Christmas show. That's my favorite personally. I get to sing lots of Christmas carols, and it snows at the end. We have bubble snow that comes over the crowd. It really just helps folks to get in the Christmas spirit. And Branson, we start Christmas at Silver Dollar City and Branson, November 1. So for 2 full weeks here out of the year, a sixth of the year, we are fully Christmas mode. But it's a great opportunity if you maybe come to Branson and don't have a lot of, have an entire day to devote to a theme park, but say, hey, we'd rather have a meal and a show. And that lake cruise, it's a great way to hop on the water and experience some of the beauty of the Ozarks, and also get a little bit of entertainment and yummy food along the way.
Cool. And another thing you mentioned that is tagged on to the Silver Dollar City Company there is the water park. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what it has to offer as well?
Yeah, of course. So Whitewater Park is basically, it's on, I said the 76 Strip earlier. That's 76 Country Boulevard. That's kind of like our main street. It goes past all the attractions and along all the way down, basically from the Branson Landing, which is kind of a shopping area, a lot of kind of think strip mall, but on steroids, like a lot of really cool, unique shops, and goes all the way up until Silver Dollar City. So a couple miles away from us is our water park. And there you have that kind of continuation. It's tropical themed, and it's really beautiful, especially during the summer. We do a great job. So we're open typically about a span of 3 months. The last week of May, so next year we'll open May 25th at the water park and go until August 31st. And basically it just offers people a chance to cool down. It's a water park that, again, family friendly there in the Strip, and offers dining options and different things like that, but also has the thrills, has a couple of different water slides, your lazy river, and pretty large 500,000 gallon wave pool there. So lots of people have made memories there and continue to. So that'll open up, like I said, 2024. We have night water. That's another fun thing we do. We'll be open till 10 p.m. So people can actually, get a chance to, hop on the wave pool maybe and be able to. Sorry about that. Be able to hop away and look at the stars, underneath those Ozark stars there. But again, just a compliment to our overall brand, and that same property is what just makes us kind of feel like a family here. Is we have a wide array, not just the theme park, not just the water park, got the Showboat too, and a campground if you even want to stay. So really, you can eat, stay, play, all in the same area here. Not to mention all the great things that our city of Branson has to offer as well, entertainment-wise.
Cool. And it's always good to have that, especially in the heat of the summer. So not only get to enjoy the dry park, but we also have the wet park there. So awesome. And As we get close to the end of this interview here, and again, thank you so much for joining us today. There's Sawyer, but one of the things I just learned about Silver Dollar City, and I believe this might be a Hershey thing as well, is that you have a university internship program. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how students can get involved with that?
Of course, yeah, we have basically a way. It's called Grow You, and that is an opportunity that we have both our internship side of things that offers, entry level positions where you can learn different, that can be as short as 3 months during the summer, or that could be an entire year or a couple years, kind of depending on what experience you're looking for. And those internship opportunities, can span anywhere from attractions to up here in our marketing offices to brochure distribution, all across our properties over at the Showboat. But yeah, it really just lets you kind of take a step in and take a look into our company, how we operate. And all of our properties offer, at least the theme parks, offer those opportunities to shadow and gain real world experience. Once you're employed with us, we also do offer an opportunity called Grow You, and that does compensate you for college courses. And so I know a couple of different people, one who actually just joined our team, who is working her way through her associates, but essentially for a set amount of time, meet the hourly requirements for the year. But if you're employed here and meet those requirements, then basically you do qualify for that program, and that's something that's a really great opportunity for people wanting to further their education, but might not have a chance. I didn't have a chance to go to a traditional university, and went to a work program, a work college here in the area, and so that, again, like, probably never would have seen a 4-year degree had it not been for a college that offered me a chance to work for my education. And same thing here at Silver Dollar City is that folks might start here as a ride operator when they're, ride operator is going to be 18 or above, but maybe some of the other foods and stuff can hire all the way from 15, regarding labor laws and things like that. So they can start as a 15-year-old here at Silver Dollar City,
Wow.
fall in love with their job, do that for 2, 3, 4 years, and then eventually be able to pay for their education and take courses while they're still working here at Silver Dollar City, making a livable income, and then be able to kind of graduate from that program entirely debt free. That's something we offer to every single employee. So that's whether you work at one of our Jeep tours or work at Newport Aquarium. I mean, all across any of the dinner shows. Those are all things that fall under that Grow You, and anyone who works for Hershey qualifies for that.
That is really neat and great opportunity. And if you're in high school, college, or whatever academic level you may be in, definitely check into that, especially if you're looking to pursue the themed attractions type of field. So that's really neat that you have that available to you. And one of my last questions for you here, Sawyer, is what are some tips for first-time visitors like myself to Silver Dollar City? What are some tips and tricks you might want to give to our listeners that are coming to the park for the first time?
Of course, Donnie, we got to get you tickets. That's the first thing. We're going to get you tickets to come out here, you and your wife. You got to experience our brand, and I really want you to see all the things that the Hershey family's done here, and of course Dollywood maybe eventually. To experience our brand. I know it's exciting talking about it, but yeah, walking through these parks, I'd say if someone is planning their trip to Silver Dollar City and says, "Man, like I'm going to travel, a couple of hours to visit your park," definitely look it up online. We try to make our website really a hub for everything that you could need, kind of a one-stop shop. We have our schedule on there. I'm a planner, big planner. And so when it comes to the calendar, silverdollarcity.com/calendar, that shows what dates and times everything is open, from our water park to the Showboat to our theme park. And so make sure you plan your date, correctly. Just being a theme park, everybody's having people come up and it's like, oh no, the park's closed. We didn't look at the schedule. So make sure you come on a day that we're open, and look at the festivals as well. Our calendar is color coded, so you can see what festival is going on when you come down here. And again, those are always revolving and changing. Sometimes we don't have a festival going on, during your visit. But still a great time to come out because, again, like even if we don't have the streets decked out with a certain type of performance or, a parade or something like that, it's still its own 1800s experience, to walk back in here, wind back the clock and put down your stuff. So once you get here, it's really park in your parking lot, and we have a free shuttle and tram service that'll take you up here. Parking is always free here at Silver Dollar City. That's kind of a fun thing. Sometimes you have to budget quite a bit of money,
That's
if you're
awesome.
traveling to other places.
Yeah.
So being able to take advantage of that. Once you get into the park, decide what you want to do. If you really want to experience that cave tour, it's a great little, experience on top of your theme park. You'll kind of almost forget that you're at a theme park, and you'll go down there, and that's the purpose, is to take you back in time to when they first discovered what we've been able to really build an awesome brand around and all these memories around. But find what your hallmarks are. There's a full and comprehensive schedule on. We have an app as well, so you can find that on Google or Apple. Download that, and I'd say in the weeks leading up to your trip, really find and read some of those descriptions of the shows, the rides, the experiences, and make sure talk with your friends or whoever you're going with, and say, hey, what are we more on the show side of things for this time? Or are we going to focus on rides? Are we going to rope drop and be the first to ride Time Traveler? And really set up your experience that way. But food, I'd say you don't even really have to worry about planning. Anywhere you throw a stone, there's going to be an eatery. We have 23 different eateries around here on Park.
Wow.
And a couple full restaurants. So that's always a great time with a great selection of Ozarks fare. That's another thing that we're very well known for is our Ozarkian food, very healthy portion sizes. And that's not just us, that's Branson in general. And then as well as just good home cooking, a lot of warm, filling food. We have our skillets, which are our most popular item. We sell tens of thousands of those every single year. And it's just basically a medley that we cook on these massive 20-foot skillets that we have to actually craft here at the park because we can't find anyone who sells them big enough. But we just make these big old portions and load you up. So food is always a great opportunity. Come with an empty stomach. If you do come, visit during one of our festivals, we do have tasting passports. And so those are a really great thing. If you're experiencing the park for the first time and say, hey, maybe I don't want to, devote to a single meal at one eatery because there's 23 eateries. We have a tasting passport essentially for a little over $35. You can get it and it'll give you 5 tastes.
Wow.
You keep that with you, and they'll basically punch your card, and you'll get some tasting portions, and some of them are full-size portions of different fare that are specifically themed towards whatever festival. So during street fair you might get a loaded street fries, or during Christmas you might try some of our apple dumplings, or some of our decked out hot chocolate with a cookie. So that's a really great way to snack your way around the park, and highly recommend that if you're looking to come to Silver Dollar City. Plan your festival, find your tasting passport, and use the schedule to find what kind of entertainment or attractions you're looking to see during that time at Silver Dollar City.
Well, that sounds awesome, and you all heard it first here. Definitely check it out. Definitely check out Silver Dollar City if you haven't done so already. Plan your trip, and he said check through the app, check through the website, do all that, and we can guarantee that you're going to have a great time there. So one last thing here, Sawyer, how can folks get connected with Silver Dollar City? I know you mentioned a few outlets earlier, so
of course,
go ahead and share those.
A lot of our social media platforms are going to be some of the best ways. So on Instagram, we are SDC Attractions. On Facebook, just simply look up Silver Dollar City. Our social team works very hard and is complimented very often by folks who follow our platforms.
Absolutely.
And we like to make that not only a place for information, but also just to have fun. And really, every single platform is different. We also have a TikTok with Silver Dollar City. And just the interaction, we try to interact a lot with our guests on there. So even if you've never visited Silver Dollar City and maybe don't even have plans to in the next couple of months or years, just join our community, because that's really what we're big on down here in the Ozarks area. Is we're a kind, friendly community who helps each other out. And so just join on to our social media platforms, as well as, like I said, our website. Great atlas for information, anything that you might need in case your family or you are planning. It's got everything from ticket prices to season passes, all of our different festivals and events, and any special offers we might have going on. So that's definitely a great way to connect with us. But yeah, hop on social. We have a couple different fan pages and things like that where people interact, and we like to interact and people, maybe you visit here and you have an experience and say, hey, I think this would be better. Or, hey, I think I'd like to see this here. We do read those. We go through all of our platforms and listen to our guests and their comments there. So yeah, make sure to hop online there and interact with us as a brand. We love to do it. And yeah, you just might learn something about the park that you didn't know that might tip the scale and make you want to make it your next theme park visit.
Awesome. And I'll be one of those voices that say, the social media at Silver Dollar City is top notch. You all do a fantastic job with that. And just the interactivity, just the content itself is just top notch. So great job on
Well,
that.
thanks, Donnie. I'll be sure to pass that to our director of social media here.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, Sawyer, for joining us today here on the podcast. And it was great talking with you about this amazing park. So if you're listening to this and haven't gone, go ahead, check it out. If you're in the Branson, Missouri area, visit the park, the water park, the showboat, the campgrounds. Have the full Silver Dollar experience, and you will not regret it. So thanks again, Sawyer.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Donnie. We appreciate it. And yeah, hope people get a chance to come out here and experience the Ozark hospitality for themselves.
Thanks again, Sawyer, for joining us this week here in the virtual studio to talk about all things Silver Dollar City. It was so much fun just getting to talk with you about the park and just learn a little bit for myself. And Kinsey and I are so excited to be able to visit the park this winter. We're going to visit for the Christmas at Silver Dollar City, and we're so excited. And as he mentioned, it's an award-winning Christmas event, and we're so excited to experience it. And we just want to go ahead and thank Silver Dollar City for inviting us out to that. We're so pumped, and we're so excited to visit this November. So we'll be definitely reporting on that once we get there, and I'll just give you a little trip report or a full episode just talking about our first time experience there and what you can experience at the park for yourself. But as far as announcements this week, I hope you all enjoyed that special little bonus episode last week from the meetup and just talking about what we got to experience and all that. But thanks again so much, Alan, for having this awesome day planned out for us. We enjoyed it so much. So, everyone, go ahead and mark your calendars for June 15th is our next meetup. We are going to Kings Island, and this is going to be a meetup that we're going to have every now and then. Just it may not be as organized as the past 2 years have been. We want to mix things up, and that's something we'll talk about in the end of this year, kind of our plan for future meetups. But yeah, I'm going to leave it at that for now. But thanks again, Alan, for that. And it was just great being able to visit the studio, just see what's going on there, Answers in Genesis, and then obviously going over to the Creation Museum, because I have not been to the Creation Museum in years, and it was just neat to see all the improvements and just all the cool things that God is doing there at Answers in Genesis. So thanks again, Answers in Genesis, and most importantly, thank you, Alan, for that great meetup. As far as other announcements, other than the Kings Island meetup this June and the Kentucky Kingdom, I had to think of it for a second, but Kentucky Kingdom meetup in October. I mentioned it last week, but we are currently working on the ROYL website. We're updating it. We have some really cool features that we're going to be adding to that website. But as we're developing this and building it, we want to know what are some things that you would like to see on there. Right now, it's just some basic information as far as who we are, links to our merch shop, our podcast, a contact page, the Plan Salvation, which that's not going anywhere. We're keeping that, but we got a few things planned for that. But what are some things you would like to see out of our website? Do you want to see some recommendations we have for, I don't know, places we've been, some trip tips and tricks? What do you want to see? We want to build this site so it's helpful and useful for you, but we're always up to suggestions. So go ahead and leave us a message on social media or even on the website. As we build this website, we want to build it to where it's something you can use. So definitely check that out and let us know what you would like to see added to the website. But speaking of website, our merch shop, rideofyourlifeshop.com. We have some really cool merch out right now, and we're going to be adding some more over time. And once we get closer to Easter, we're going to have a few designs that we'll roll out that they could be year-round, but kind of centered around the cross and things like that. So we're working on a few things. It may or may not be out around Easter, but we are working on some new designs. We're going to be bringing in some new designs, taking some out, retiring them, and just switching it around. So it's always up to date. But some of the most recent stuff that we have there is Ryan Subler Media stuff is on there. We have taken the Christian Coasters stuff off there, but have switched up his new branding, so you can purchase that there. You can also get our Ask Me About My shirt, hoodie, mug, and all that stuff with the QR code to the Plan of Salvation, which, again, we got a few cool things planned for that with the new website and all that. Just things we'll announce at a later time. And we have Jesus Saves and then Meetup merch available. Go ahead, check that out at rideofyourlifeshop.com. And as always, stay up to date with all things on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and X, and even YouTube soon. Again, things we're still working on. But as far as social media, if you didn't see the last week's post on our page, actually today, we are going ahead and announcing our ROYL Showdown. It's our take on March Madness. So this year's theme for the ROYL Showdown is the Battle of the Parks, as we're calling it. So we are taking the U.S.'s top theme parks and we're battling them out. So I'm going to go ahead and go through our contestants, I guess, our battling parks. So to kick it off with round one, we have all these parks that are going to be battling each other. So we have Cedar Point versus Busch Gardens Williamsburg, Knott's Berry Farm versus Silver Dollar City, Magic Kingdom versus Disneyland, Fun Spot Atlanta versus Knoebels. We have Holiday World versus Kings Island, Kennywood, and I did this on purpose, Kennywood versus Dollywood, so Kenny versus Dolly, and then Six Flags Magic Mountain versus Hershey Park, and to wrap it up, SeaWorld San Diego versus Islands of Adventure. So beginning next Monday, February 26th, you can start voting in our stories each Monday for your picks for the ROYL Showdown. So kicking things off is round one, week one, and you will have the chance to vote in our stories at Instagram, and that's at Ride of Your Life Ministries on Instagram. You can vote for Cedar Point versus Busch Gardens, Knott's Berry Farm versus Silver Dollar City, Magic Kingdom versus Disneyland, and then Fun Spot America Atlanta versus Knoebels. So you'll have the chance to vote next Monday for those parks and see who makes it to round two. And then the week after that, we'll be voting on the other ones. But stay tuned next week to the Instagram stories all day Monday. You'll have 24 hours to cast your votes for this. And then we will work the brackets out to where we will get our next round for that. So that's something cool that we're just trying out this year and hope to continue in the future with different themes. But that is the ROYL Showdown. And then, as always, you can check our social media for up-to-date information on what we have going on at ROYL and all that good stuff. And as always, you can reach out to us on our social media, obviously, our website, rideofyourlifeministries.com, and through the ROYL hotline at 513-285-8319. And all this information on ways to connect with us is down in the show notes, and you can do that way. But that'll do it for this week's episode of the Ride of Your Life podcast. I hope you all have a great week, and we will see you next Monday. here on the ROYL Podcast. Peace! Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Ride of Your Life podcast. We hope it's a blessing, help, and encouragement to you. You can connect with us here at Ride of Your Life Ministries on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Ride of Your Life Ministries. You can also find us on X at ROYL Ministries, and that's Royal without the A. You can find us on our website at rideofyourlifeministries.com, and you can text us at the ROYL Hotline at 513-285-8319. And again, that is 513-285-8319. Be sure to give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast streaming platform, and also leave a review so that the word gets out to those who need to hear it. We hope you all have a great week, and we will see you next Monday. God bless.